Alright, let's get straight into it. This is a story that's as much about ambition as it is about the brutal reality of business. No fluff, no sugarcoating. Meghan Markle, once positioned as Hollywood's next big powerhouse, is now facing a very public and very humiliating setback. The glitz, the glamour, the endless headlines about her potential, all of it crumbles when faced with cold, hard facts. Netflix, the very company that once rolled out a $100 million red carpet, has turned its back on her in the most decisive way possible. You can try to spin this however you want, but the truth is glaring. Meghan Markle asked Netflix for a €100 million loan. Let that sink in. A loan. Not another deal, not an extension of their partnership, but an outright plea for funds. And Netflix, a company that's no stranger to throwing cash at big names, said no. Not just no, they reportedly didn't even hesitate to shut it down. This is Netflix, the platform that gambles on everything from quirky documentaries to blockbuster flops. They've invested in everyone from A-list stars to up-and-coming creators. But Meghan Markle? She's suddenly not worth the risk. That's a statement if I've ever seen one. And why? Let's be honest here. It's not hard to figure out. Her track record in the entertainment world is mediocre at best. Sure, her name carries weight. At least, it used to. But name recognition only gets you so far. You need to deliver. And Meghan hasn't. From her podcast that quietly disappeared off Spotify to her failed lifestyle brand, American Riviera Orchard, the pattern is clear. Overpromise, underdeliver. The audience isn't stupid. They're not going to buy into something just because it has a royal stamp on it. Let's talk about that lifestyle brand for a second. American Riviera Orchard. What was even the point? Luxury jams? Abstract lifestyle themes? It didn't just miss the mark, it missed the entire target. The brand was supposed to be Meghan's big moment, her chance to prove she could stand on her own, outside of the royal family's shadow. But instead, it became a textbook example of how not to run a business. No clear direction, no understanding of the market, and certainly no connection with consumers. It was dead on arrival. And here's the kicker, Netflix knows this. They've been watching. They've been paying attention to the numbers, the audience feedback, the sales, or lack thereof. They're not sentimental. This is a business. If you don't bring in the returns, you're out. It doesn't matter how famous you are or how many headlines you can generate. If you can't produce results, you're done. And Meghan Markle, for all her press and visibility, hasn't produced results. Even her Netflix projects haven't lived up to the hype. Sure, Harry's Heart of Invictus got some attention. But Meghan? Her contributions have been lackluster, to say the least. Let's not forget her podcast Archetypes, which was supposed to be this groundbreaking exploration of female stereotypes. It had all the buzzwords, all the marketing spin. But where is it now? Quietly removed from Spotify. That's not just a failure, that's an embarrassment. And it doesn't just hurt Meghan's brand, it hurts Netflix's brand, too. They took a chance on her, and she didn't deliver. So, when Meghan came knocking, asking for a €100 million loan, what did she expect? Did she think Netflix would just hand over the money out of loyalty? Out of respect for her name? No. Netflix isn't in the business of handing out charity. They're in the business of making money. And right now, Meghan Markle isn't a moneymaker. She's a liability. Let's not forget, this isn't just about Netflix. This is about Meghan's entire public image. The cracks have been showing for a while now. Her constant narrative of victimhood, her attempts to rebrand herself as this modern, independent woman, people aren't buying it anymore. The sympathy well has run dry. And Netflix's rejection only amplifies that. It's a public statement, a clear message. Meghan Markle isn't the golden ticket she once appeared to be. This isn't just about business. It's about credibility. And Meghan's credibility is hanging by a thread. Once, she was seen as a trailblazer, someone who could redefine what it means to be a modern royal. But now? Now she's just another celebrity trying to stay relevant in an industry that chews people up and spits them out. Netflix's decision to deny her loan request isn't just a financial blow, it's a blow to her entire narrative. And let's talk about that narrative for a second. Because it's clear that Meghan's strategy isn't working. The endless PR campaigns, the carefully curated interviews, the grand declarations of independence, it's all starting to feel hollow. People want authenticity. They want substance. And Meghan, for all her media savvy, hasn't been able to provide that. She's been too focused on the image, on the perception, and not enough on the actual work. That's the thing about Hollywood. It doesn't care about your backstory or your intentions. It cares about results. And Meghan hasn't delivered results. She's delivered headlines, sure. But headlines don't pay the bills. They don't secure contracts. And they certainly don't convince a company like Netflix to hand over €100 million. Let's not forget, Meghan had every opportunity to succeed. She had the platform, the resources, the connections. She had Netflix, Spotify, and the entire world watching. But instead of capitalizing on that, she squandered it. She overpromised and underdelivered. She tried to do too much without understanding the market. And now, she's paying the price. This isn't just a fall from grace. It's a cautionary tale. Meghan Markle's story should serve as a warning to anyone looking to break into the entertainment industry. It's not enough to have a big name. You need to have the work to back it up. You need to understand your audience, your market, your brand. And most importantly, you need to deliver results. Because if you don't, the industry will move on without you. And that's exactly what's happening here. Netflix isn't just rejecting Meghan's loan request. They're moving on. They're focusing on creators and projects that can actually deliver. They're not interested in the drama, the headlines, or the royal connections. They're interested in the bottom line. And right now, Meghan Markle isn't part of that. So where does she go from here? That's the big question. Can she salvage her brand, her reputation? Can she convince the industry to give her another chance? Or is this the beginning of the end for Meghan Markle's Hollywood ambitions? Only time will tell. But one thing is clear, the honeymoon is over. The industry isn't buying into the hype anymore. And if Meghan wants to stay relevant, she's going to have to do a lot more than just talk. She's going to have to prove herself. And that's something she hasn't been able to do so far.